Did you guys get nervous when the button gets hit? Anybody?
No, we not on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like there's just a sense of it's time. Right. No matter who. Okay.
Everything is recorded forever now.
Exactly. So that's like so for me, it's like, oh god, human resources could see any of this at any time. That's where my fear comes from.
Yeah.
For you guys, it's probably more, oh, I don't want to be on camera or be heard. But it's cool. So at least we share a little bit of that. So yesterday we talked about a couple things, right? But the main focus was what? Alternative choice. Okay. So there's going to be a piece of that in here too. Okay. So when I told you really want to learn that skill, maintaining control is going to be a common theme throughout all these trainings. Okay. But when you guys asked yesterday, when I was like, hey, what should we go over tomorrow? Because I wanted you guys to do my job on picking that stuff out. We all failed because I forgot what the topic was at first, then I remembered it, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Because I didn't ask you what you meant by it. So I didn't have a chance to plan, but I wanted to be proactive. And I think that's important. Okay, the intention of wanting to be proactive. So they asked how to close. That's going to take a long time, and I didn't have enough battery for that one. And I have to leave out of here and go to the Columbia market after. So we're going to do a bit of a shorter training, but I will get that one on tape within the next 2 weeks. You'll have it. However, if you can't open, you can't close. All right? You guys always hear, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. True, right? More contact, right? More hits. That's true for baseball. It's definitely true for us. The more you swing, the more you see a curveball, the better you're going to get at hitting it, right? Okay, well, simple sauce here, man. The more homes you're into, the more deals. Right? Okay, so unless you're getting into every home, there's room for improvement, I believe. All right, there's also definitely different scenarios that you get placed into out in the field where I believe that we should use different methods to get in, right? Worst thing you can probably do here is be a one-trick pony and not learn, okay? Now, why do we teach the door pitch the way it is taught? Does anybody know? Why do we teach it that way where we want to
Fundamentals?
It's good to know fundamentals so that you can do less thinking out there, because you guys get hit with so many different extracurriculars, right? Whether it's an angry spouse or a bad budget because the hot water heater blew right before you got there. There's going to be a lot of curveballs, right? So we teach a system to like kind of bring you back if things go haywire into the weeds. But for the qualifier specifically, it's to identify a buyer, okay? Now, the 5-minute, however, does anybody know the purpose of the 5-minute?
Create urgency during the course of the sale, the presentation.
That's definitely in there towards the bottom. But the actual, like, why did we need that? That's actually to get you in the home, if you haven't already. That 5-minute is designed to get you in the home. Some people think the door pitch is. Door pitch is to identify, is this the right person to spend my time with here for the next, can you see that part? Like it's to qualify, that's why it's the last part. We do all that to arrive at the bottom, which is to qualify, okay? That's not to get in, all right? We've still got to cool them off a little bit, let them know that we're, safe to talk to, that we're not some stranger danger type of deal. So we give them the empathy, we build a little bit of rapport, but let's be honest, from our perspective, we're over here like, all right, how am I gonna get in this house without being weird or creepy or spooky? Is there only one person here? Is the husband here, but maybe he's working from home? Or if I ask to get in, is it gonna be awkward, right? Because she's gonna be like, my husband's not here, you can't do that. So there's a lot of stuff going through your head while you're over here trying to pitch. So absolutely having a system and having to think about less things that are coming out of your mouth gives you the ability to think a little bit in the background, okay? So that's why I do prefer door pitch. That's about the only thing where I almost demanded, like, guys, if you can get that word for word here, okay? Because it'll at least always have you in front of the right people before you move forward. Now, if you can't open, you can't close. Do you agree with that?
All right. Yeah.
Guys, we are in a prejudged business, okay? If they see you come in before you knock on the door, do you not think they're looking out going, you know what I mean? If they see you like flicking a cigarette, untucking the like moving around, dropping your papers everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Versus somebody that gets out, parks, comes up sharp, ready to go, a tablet out, right, tucked in, looking like Kingsley, $1 million, right? It matters. First impressions matter, okay? Now, I'm not gonna give you some made up stat like you have 8 seconds or you have 15 seconds, or hit Google and I bet you get a bunch of different stats on how long you have to make a first impression. But can we all agree it's pretty quick? It's pretty quick. And it's also at a glance, okay? And then you get a chance to speak. So either you've turned them off before you speak, or you've got 15 seconds that they're gonna give you based on how you look, where they're like, you're not crazy. They give you 15 seconds to see if they're right about your first impression, right? So what you say matters. You need to know how you're gonna approach it before they open the door. You don't need to be thinking when they open the door, what am I supposed to say? So, it's pretty simple. We're gonna teach 3 different ones today, okay? And the first one that I'm gonna teach you guys is gonna be a more friendly, assumptive, consultative type of approach. Okay, so these 3 things, these 3 different methods are gonna set the tone for how you carry out the rest of the sale. All right? I know I sit here and tell you guys all the time to sell emotionally. I'm gonna be honest, there's a time not to. Okay? You're gonna run into people that are straight facts and figures driven. People that are cut to the chase people that are like, hit me with the price. I don't have time to, and you better listen. You better, if you want the deal. All right, so there's different ways to approach folks. You need to understand how to approach them before you get up there so that you don't fumble. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're gonna open properly. That's the first one, is friendly, assumptive, consultative. I call it Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Okay, it'll make more sense as we get going when I try to figure out what the hell I mean. But the second one I'm gonna teach you guys is when you're walking up and you see an existing system, or you see old stickers from a company, whether it's ours, whether it's one that's not in business anymore, whether you see contact stuff. So you see there was an old alarm in here from the previous owner. Okay, I believe you approach those differently. So we'll see if you guys think that too after you learn this. The third one, invite or outvite. Invite or outvite. Okay? We can do it inside or we can do it outside. But you not letting me in is not gonna hinder me closing this deal. Okay, some people think that you have to get inside to do a sale. Some people don't understand that you need to go inside to do a sale, and they do all their sales outside, right? Everybody has their style, and COVID really brought that in, where it's like, no, I don't even go in the house when I write my deals. To me, that blows my mind. Okay, but you guys are in a warmer climate, so maybe it's cool for you. In the summertime, definitely I'll write them outside. In February, if it's cold, I'm inside. If I'm trying to do a thorough job and nail it down, I think I should be answering questions from inside. However, you know, if you have people that are inside sick, I don't want to go in. Okay? I don't want them to use that as an excuse why we can't move forward with the deal. Hey, you can't come in because X, Y, Z. Guys, you'll have customers that you don't know what they were doing before you showed up, so they're like, I can't let this stranger into my house right now, they might call the cop. But don't let that stop you from getting a deal. You're not there to judge people, you're there to protect them. So be like, hey, listen, go grab your shit. So we're gonna teach you guys that one too. Just because you're not getting in doesn't mean you're not opening, okay? So we're gonna do 3 different ones there. Hopefully that's gonna make sense. You guys can stop and ask questions anytime you want. There's no cover right there. All right. Definitely probably not legible, I'm working on it. But, all right, so first one, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, okay? If I don't see any signs of any existing equipment, right? Maybe it's new build, but the builder hasn't put anything in yet. Maybe it's an old house in an old neighborhood, but there's no ADT sign on this house. There's no stickers. I don't see any contacts on the windows, right? And lastly, when that front door opens, before I make eye contact with them, I don't see anything in the upper corner of the door. Okay, before you make eye contact, when that door opens, that 0.2 seconds before you look down and introduce is actually quite vital. Okay? Because if you can't, maybe they didn't get window contacts, right? Maybe they ran into a beast of a salesperson that wants to hold back and maximize profit, so they only gave 3 door sensors and a key fob, right? So you're not going to see a lot of window contacts. Maybe they didn't like putting up stickers because they didn't want to have to scratch them off, and they took their sign with them. So there is still a chance, if you don't see the signs as you're walking up, there's still a chance that there's door sensors and motion detectors in there that are not visible, that nobody knows about, okay? But when that front door opens, if you hear beep, 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 okay, because you got to use your eyes and your ears, or you see in that corner as the door's coming open, the sensor, you're gonna fire off the second one. However, when that door opens, you don't have any inclination that there's a system. You're walking up. As that door opens, it swings. You don't hear anything. You don't see any equipment. You go normal. Hey, you must be my new homeowner, right? I'm Jared with Safe Haven, ADT's authorized dealer. I'm actually the real. And you progress down as normal as the system has taught you, okay? Because there's no equipment in that house, and you know that now, right? Because you tried to ID it as you were walking up, and now you damn sure confirmed it because what? The door, when it opened, there's not even any protection on the doors. Okay, so you know that method's not going to work. When that door swings open, you go standard. You don't have to think about it. This is a standard door. It's a fresh door. They don't have any equipment. They need a new system. We're going to build value. We're going to 5-minute it, and we're going to show them, hey, look, there is no existing equipment in here to use. You guys would have to start from scratch, but that's why this exists, right? Build credibility in yourself, because the problem in that scenario that you got to fix when you go there is, hey, there's no system in here, right? So when you show up, when you explain the new homeowners program, when you build the value, and when you show them on the tablet that, okay, when you use Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, hey, are you my new homeowner? That's how I start my door pitch. Everything else, I rattle down word for word. But when it's hi, are you the new homeowner? The only thing I do different, hey, are you my new homeowner? My new homeowner. I drove here for you. Are you the one I'm hunting for? That's what they need to feel. That one tweak of taking ownership of my homeowner is what sets the tone for Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Hey, are you my neighbor? I run this neighborhood. I'm Kingsley. I am your relocation. I'm the relocation manager assigned to your new home closing. Well, who sent you? Safe Haven. ADT's local authorized dealer. Right? Be ready to answer those questions, right? But if there's no equipment in there, you already know that the problem you got to solve is, first I got to find out if somebody wants a system. I got to let them know that it's not in there, but instead of paying for it, I'm here to save the day. So that's your play there that you run. So that is your opener, the standard one. Okay, if there's no equipment and you ID that, standard opener. Cool? Are you guys with me?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to edit that out. Second part. So as you can see that one, it is really friendly because you've heard how I get into the house, right? My job's simple. It's to answer any of your guys' questions, explain this program to you to see if you're going to use it to lower the risk. Very assumptive as well, right? Like, hey, I'm just here to answer your questions. Let's get it moving. Going to see if you're going to do it or not. Very assumptive, but also very consultative. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay, so take that tone the whole way through. Very business-like, right? But also get your ERT. That's going to separate you from sales. There's going to be less pressure because it is consultative if you'll play that role and let it take you that way, okay? So Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, bring that vibe. Okay, that's why I called it that. Hey, you must be my new homeowner. I'm Kingsley. I'm the relocation manager assigned to your new home closing. Congratulations, right? That's the vibe immediately and the whole way through on that one, okay? Don't change up on it. Number 2, transactional, quick entry, authoritative, and you will force a yes or a no here, okay? Doing it this way, you're not ever going to have any issues with setting appointments. You're not going to be seen as a salesperson, okay, because you're there to do something else and it just happens to go about it that way, okay? This is going to be an alternative choice close quickly. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I was coming up, this is how I sold all my deals. Because where I went, there were a lot of areas just like the areas you guys have here, where there's a ton of old security signs and old systems that you've never heard of, companies that go out of business, because in higher crime, higher urgency areas, that's where, for years and for decades, door-to-door teams would just go in every door, every house, try to see who could qualify, who we could give this away to, slap a payment, right? So there's been years and years and years of people laying foundation for you guys that have opened up this avenue of setting the tone for a sale. This used to actually be Safe Haven's standard door approach, right? We changed, we evolved over the years, right? Because people leave us, they take our stuff, they act like it's theirs, and that there's these geniuses, and they take it to these other companies. They're like, "You're a genius," and I was like, "No, really, I just kind of stole it from Safe Haven." So that's full transparency. So that's why we evolve and we change over the years, right? We go with the market, we go with what customers want. This method, however, Still works. I know because I dusted it off a little bit ago, and it cut through like a hot knife through butter. It was the last time another office in South Carolina did double digits that day. Right? We had this training, and I don't think there's any coincidence to it because it's pretty easy to learn. Okay? And again, this is something that we used to teach here at Commonplace. So this scenario, the one you use for this, for playbook number 2, pretty simple. Then there's 2 methods I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach existing ADT and existing security that's not ADT. Okay? There's a subtle difference, but there is a difference, right? And I don't care which one I run into. The second I see any kind of old security equipment or sign, I'm like, ooh, yippee. All right, that's how. Don't say that like me, but feel that like me, okay? Like Kingsley's gonna say it with more bass, obviously, but But I get excited because I'm like, ooh, a deal. That is literally how my mind is trained when I see any sign. Okay, because a couple things. Number one, the type of sign, what company is going to tell me the age of the equipment that's probably in there before I go. Okay, the look of the contact that I get a peek at before that door fully opens, and the size of it is again going to tell me the age of the system that's in there, so that I know what kind of problems may or may not exist, so that I can fix them. Right? Because again, it's all about just fixing the problem. So I got to know which playbook I'm going to run. So I see old equipment, right? Maybe you see the sticker, maybe you see the sign, maybe you see old cameras, whatever, what have you. If you see cameras, you've got to identify. Are these do-it-yourself cameras from the previous owner? Or are these from a company like us or us? You got to ID that before you know how to run your play, okay? Because you're the expert in your field. You got to know what you're talking about. So, again, number 2 is going to be very matter of fact, very I am the manager. Okay, I'm here for a job. Let's get to it. Okay, so it will force you to sell a little bit more transactional. Be aware of that. And still try to use emotion when you're in your walkthrough and stuff. Okay, you still need to use that. But number 2 is the existing system close, which is just that, guys. Hey, there's old equipment in here. We're going to use this to our advantage. And in an opener, it's pretty simple. Hey, my name's Tyler. I'm the relocation manager assigned to the new home closing. You guys purchased a house that had a previous security system in it. Part of my job is to come out here and explain the new homeowners program to you, but also to answer any of your questions you may have about the equipment that's in the home, update the equipment records, figure out the condition and the quality of it, and then see what you want to do with it. It's going to take you a second to digest it, but pretty much you guys bought a house that previously had an alarm registered with the old owner. They send me out here to update equipment records to figure out the condition, the quality of it, make sure there aren't any fire hazards, loose wires, answer your questions, and see what you want to do with it. Okay, so you bop in, you bop in that you're there to explain the new homeowners program, and then you bop in the other part of it's because you guys had the existing equipment and you probably got questions. We just want to make sure that you guys don't, take anything down, damage anything, if you had plans to turn it over or whatever, or if you want it removed, right? You've got to come across, again, I'm here to do this. Explain this to you real quick, figure out what may or may not still be in there, the condition and quality of it, figure out your plans with it. Yes, sir.
Skipping the qualifier in this open? Because we're assuming because there's a system in play that they already qualify?
Well, no, so after you get that off, like I'm here to do this, X, Y, and Z, like have you folks seen any, so you're qualified, have you folks seen any of the old equipment by chance? Okay, they're gonna qualify, yeah, it's in here, they're gonna qualify themselves about an entry. At this point, it's about an entry, okay? I'll figure out their feelings if I do it this way, naturally. And that's what I'm saying, when you do it this way, it's really matter of fact because they say, yeah, the old keypad's in here, do you need to take a look or whatever? It's a natural invitation in because they usually turn, they pivot their shoulder and point. They'll pivot and point. When they pivot, you need to follow their body language and you need to rock with them. If they don't pivot or say, hey, do you need to see it? Be like, natural, right? Hey, is that the old equipment right there? Is that the old keypad? Is it like beeping and just kind of lean and you'll be shocked. All right. Mm-hmm. Part of my job is to update the equipment records, figure out the condition and quality, and answer any of your questions. Okay. So it's more, I know there's equipment in there. I'm here to get this knocked out real quick, answer any of your questions. I'll be brief. I throw things like that in there. answer any of you guys' questions about the stuff, see what you want to do with it. I'll be brief. Have you seen it? Is it making noise? Does it beep when you open the doors? You're so equipment focused, right? Okay, so you're here to, and that the vibe with that, when I say more to the point, more yes or no, it's going to be more transactional, and it's a quick entry. That's exactly what I mean, right? It's more, hey, the manager's here, just got to knock this stuff out real quick. It's just kind of like it's protocol when a house changes hands almost. That is the vibe there, yes? And again, if you have old stuff in the house, either you want it upgraded, you want it turned into your name, or you want it out of your new house, right? Well, you don't just want to let a keypad sit there for the next 10 years while you live, you know what I mean? You don't. So it's either new, turn on, or get it out of here. So when you do it this way, you're getting in. You're not going to try to get in, you will get in. Sometimes you're going to get in very rapidly. So you need to do a good job at then decompressing the situation. Be like, what I used to do, and you're going to laugh at me, I would either wear mismatched socks or I'd wear one with a hole in it on purpose, right? Because I'm a psycho, but also, right, because when I kick off my shoes, that was my immediate cool off. I'm like, no, look, don't make fun of me. The missus is pregnant, which means I'm in charge of my own laundry. These were the only 2 clean ones we had. Like I would make that the thing, get them to laugh like the second I'm in the house, and then I'm back on, oh, there it is. Okay, so anything I can do to humor it after I'm in because of how quick it is, and then I bounce back to my ERT, okay? So you're still gonna wanna get back on the system. What I'm just trying to teach you is the most proper way to get into each scenario, okay? Because I want you guys to, if they open the door, you should be in unless it's a belief system, no. I believe that, right? If they're curious at all, we should be in, okay? So knowing which play to run is always going to get you your first down at least, okay, if that makes sense. So the existing equipment for ADT is that, right? You're there to update equipment records, answer any questions they may or may not have, okay? Now, let's say it's like Sonatrol or Chesapeake Bay Alarms LLC with the sign in front of the house, right? You guys see these one-offs all the time, okay? The DIYs, what about that, right? We have a lot of house flippers. Okay, let's say there's a Simply Safe in there. Hey, you guys purchased a house that had like a DIY monitored system in it before, I guess, when the house flipper was there. So you guys know you guys have the option to transition over to DIY. You can just purchase extra equipment, maybe add it on, and then hope that they're not looking at your system, I guess, when they're at their new project. But they send me out here to explain your guys' options, see what you guys may or may not want to change out, switch up, and you guys have that ability to do that in this new homeowners program. Okay, so what you're doing is saying, I know that's in there, I know it's self-monitored, it's put in by the flipper. What you're trying to hint at here is, I know that they can still access that system that they gave you because it's self-monitored, and that plants a little seed for before you get in. But again, to get in, you just have to be there to answer questions about what's in there already, because their defense is going to be, we already have a Simply Safe in here, we're probably just going to activate that. So if you know that's getting ready to come, but you use it against them, like, hey, I know that's in there. They send me out here to explain the differences in the new homeowners program, what you're entitled to, answer any questions you may or may not have. All you're doing is come and answer their questions about the difference, explain what they're entitled to. This is about getting into swing, right? This is only about the openings. And so if it's ADT, you should be in a bazillion %. If it's a different company, honestly, it's going to need to sound the same just about, right? You guys purchased a home that had a previous alarm system. Not our system, a previous alarm system. Anytime that happens, I come out to explain the differences in it to you guys, answer any questions you may or may not have, and update the equipment records. Figure out the functionality and the quality of the equipment. See if anything was damaged during the transition. We know sometimes people take things down to paint before they sell the house, right? These are common things. Our job is to come out and figure out situation with the equipment, answer your questions, figure out what you want to do with it. It's going to sound the exact same. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to sound the exact same to them. Okay? Raise your hand if you know what channel locks are. You do? What are channel locks?
You talking about the tool?
No, sir, actually. I'm talking about the company, but thank you for proving my point. Channel locks is a company. It's the name of a company. It is not a tool. They specialize in a certain type of tool, And they do it so well that when somebody points for that tool, they don't say, hand me the Crescent Wrench or the 16 or the Vice grip. They say, hand me the channel locks. And that came to me and hit me real hard one day because I was in a new build kind of community. It was only about 2 years old. People move in and out real quick there. Like if they're the first buyer, the new buyer's in there like a year later. Right? So they've had 2 owners in a year there. So they're still building the community while people are moving in and out. So it was clear that the new person that moved in wasn't the original purchaser, but every home in there had that little janky little Honeywell system that the builder put in for some company I'd never heard of, right? I show up with not much craft, only using my door pitch. I hit them with my standard door pitch. They go, yeah, we probably, because I try to qualify. They go, yeah, we probably will. I've been meaning, and they pointed right at the keypad. They said, I've been meaning to turn on the ADT. I just ain't called nobody. Now look, the sign for the company was literally standing between us because we were at the front door. I mean, it was right there. But that sign also was painted all behind me, okay, on the sea of townhomes because they were all the same. And they literally pointed at my channel locks and go, y'all do it so damn well that when I look at that keypad, I see ADT. I don't see a security system. That's the ADT. And that's why this method works. Because most people haven't had an alarm system multiple times. Most people haven't done their research before you got there. Okay, and they're wrapped up in a world of, we'll get a camera. All right, that's about the only mental checklist they give you when they talk about security or things like that. Oh, when we get in here, we're going to get cameras. And they're off to the next thing. Paint, locks, carpet, right? Like, that's it. That's how a fleeting homeowner's mind thinks. So, when you explain, hey, I'm here to answer your questions about that, that's pretty much the vibe you're trying to give right there, okay? It's not going to change. Your wording may change a bit, right? Because you want to be honest, you want to be forthright, but it still needs to feel that way. Hey guys, I get sent out here because you bought a house with an old alarm. It's to answer any of your questions, figure out, make sure the equipment's not damaged, answer any of your questions, and explain the options. Answer your questions and explain the options. I'm here to do 2 things. I'm here to answer your questions and explain your options. And that's not very threatening. That seems like a quick process. That's why I always throw in, I'll be brief. Because when I say I'll be brief, it's time to get to business. Have you seen the old keypad? That's what comes next. I'll be brief. You guys seen the old equipment by chance? There's stuff on the doors. I'll start pointing. Because when I start pointing, they start looking. When they start looking, their shoulders go. When their shoulders go, I'm coming too. I learned that a long time ago. I follow their shoulders, right? When I ask what the back door looks like, it's a new home. So they can't just tell me. Mentally, they still have to turn around to access the layout because they've been walking through a different house for the last couple of years. So when they have to turn around, I go with them. That's a trick you just learned just now. You'll see it today. Well, I don't know. Go. Okay, that's free game right there. That one will make you $100,000. I'm dead serious. It's like, because some people are like, I don't know when to transition. When you see that, like the Matrix. All right. That's it, right? There is another way. Like, listen, I mean, you know, if you're in a slump, you can get a little more aggressive. So, like, when they open the door, I throw my wallet in their house. I only did that once. Oh, shoot, I'm trying to do mine. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. But don't do that, because nowadays people will just close the door and say, sorry about you. People used to be nice. So you can try different stuff. So the third way, right? Let's see, we've covered the one where there is no equipment, there's no pre-existing system in there. We've covered the one where it's old ADT, and we've also covered it where it might be a Vivint or a Vector or a DIY or whatever, what have you. Either way, you're there to answer questions about the equipment that they bought that's in the house. Okay, so that's play number 2. Play number 3 is, shoot, I missed my window and it's going to be awkward if I try to get in the house now. All right, you didn't ask, you missed your window on that. I think the kids use the word keying. So you're just keying out by the front door, just kind of shooting the breeze. It's gotten to the level of almost awkward rapport because they're like, can you hurry up? I'm busy. And you can feel that. Well, hell, we still got to try to get a natural invite in. That's our only hope. And I think some people confuse invite in for invite into the house. That's not what I'm talking about. You need an invite into this presentation. And it's what we talked about yesterday. Okay? If you don't get that natural invite in, if you can't lean on the equipment to be like, hey, I'm here to kind of explain this stuff to you and share my wisdom about personal safety with you and explain discounts on insurance. If you don't have either of those plays available to you, or maybe you have somebody that you can just tell is standoffish and you feel awkward asking to come in. If you're awkward, you ain't getting a deal. So use a different avenue so that you're comfortable, but you still got to take your charge, right? Okay, very assumptive. Hey, look, I'm sure you guys are super busy. My job is pretty simple and I'll be brief. It's to explain the new homeowners program to you and the options available to see if you guys are going to use it to lower the risk of theft, vandalism, and fire in the home. Would you like to do your walkthrough on the interior, or do you want to snag your shoes and we can do the walkthrough on the outside? Okay. That's not an invite into a home. It's not awkward. It's, hey, get down or lay down. That's really what, because at that point, if I haven't naturally already gotten into the home, right? If you're not going to give me much, if you wishy-wash my qualifier, so I'm still not really sure where you're standing, where you feeling, I am going to speed this one up. Why? Because we talked about getting our no today, getting our no quickly. So some of our openers are to either expose a no or go for the gullet and get good at being a killer, right? And that's what really makes a 20 and 30 clubber is, all right, bro, after the day I've had, do you want to grab your shoes or would you like me to step inside and show some hospitality? That's about where you're at with that one, okay? I believe in matching energy. If they're all business like what Kingsley's giving me, I'm all business. That's my more cut to the chase, facts and figures, things like that. So invite or outvite, the reason I call it that is I don't care if I'm coming in the house or not. I care if you and I are getting ready to engage in this 5 minute or am I spinning my wheels? Okay, so should you be in the house in the first 3 to 5? Yeah. Y'all are down south, man. Heck, I think y'all should be in the first 120 seconds. Baby, you want to come inside? All right, that's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. That's most of them. It is, right? If you're super sweaty, don't you dare wipe your forehead off. You let that thing glisten. All right, let it drip. Let it drip. Because you're definitely not coming in the house, but they will feel bad for you. You're not getting the sweat on their carpets. But you can speed up to the outside walkthrough and make it quick for them because they see how sweaty you are, right? I'm kidding. Hopefully they let you in. So, do you guys understand the difference in the three? Do you understand number one at least? And why we use, that's just standard issue. Hey, the only difference and the only real tweak I do from the system with the hi, are you the new homeowner is what? Hi, are you my new homeowner? And that'll really set the tone. You say it with a smile and all that. I actually did that to qualify, am I talking to the right person or not? Is it because they'll tell you real quick if they're not the new homeowner, they'll go, new owner. Oh, you must be the old owner. You just haven't moved out yet? No, we move out on blah, 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 blah. Your job's already done, right? And it just took one line to figure all that out. So let's speed that up with that. That's why I started using that. But when I say, hi, are you my new homeowner? A lot of times they would immediately, their face went, yeah! Who that for you? Right? And it sets the table for, I'm Kingsley, I'm your relocation manager. I'm a relocation manager assigned to your closing. Okay, it's about, I've taken ownership of you now. I'm going to give you some of me because we're buddies, we're partners now. All right, so it immediately sets that kind, consultative, it's safe to ask me questions tone. All right, it's more friendly. The second one, hey, I'm here. I know there's old equipment, right? Part of my job is to answer your questions, check out the condition and quality of it, figure out what you want to do with it. That, again, puts you into a scenario to close, and I'm going to expound on number two now that I've explained all three of them. And the reason I still believe in that one, the reason it is so lethal, it forces you into a position to either close the deal or leave. So when people are like, how do you close? Put yourself in a position. Okay? I ran a training several years ago when I was still kind of trying to learn how to do this, and now I'm going to try to give it to you guys today because I think it'll make more sense. I've been doing it longer, and so here it goes. It's called the mechanics theory. Okay? When you go to the mechanic for something standard, plug a tire, an oil change, a squeak, usually they come back out and say, hey, I need to talk to you. And they take you over into the corner. They don't come right to you and tell you what's wrong. They're like, hey, can we talk? Or they say, I need you to come with me to the vehicle. What's going in your mind as you're walking to the vehicle?
Oh shit, how much is this going to cost?
Why did everybody feel that?
I need to talk to you.
Because it's at the mechanic, that's why. Right? Oh gosh. You came in for $20, they're telling you it's $2,000. After you get the bad news though, after you get this gigantic quote for like a pretty much brand new car, what's the next thought that goes through your head? Are they telling me the truth? Think about it. How many times has your girl went to the mechanic on her own, right? I just gotta get my, just take it to Jiffy Lube. Yeah, they said that they needed to rotate my tires and I had to get an air filter. And the Jiffy Lube stop was $780. Okay. Now, that is, the reason I call it the mechanics theory is for that reason. It's the feeling that gets evoked, okay? When you use this method of going in, seeing the old equipment, you're only going in to see that old equipment to do what? To discredit it. Mm-hmm. It's old or blah, blah, blah. Now look, sometimes they beat you to the punch and close themselves. When you're at the old keypad, fake push the buttons. Do not push the buttons. Fake push them. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Because if you hit the wrong button and set off the alarm, you've killed the deal because it's really loud and you don't know how to stop it. Take it from somebody that accidentally killed a sale because they hit the wrong button and the alarm went off and I went, silly me, this isn't even ADT. I don't know how to turn it off. And I ran. And it would have been a freaking laydown. Okay, so we only learned that lesson one time. The whole region's going to learn that lesson one time. Fake push the buttons. Maybe do the safe thing where you just open the door and see if it makes noise or not, right? Like that's the safest deal. If you are going to push a button, just constantly press the off button multiple times. That one's safe, okay? That's real advice. But when you're over by the keypad, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to give you nothing, and then you'll start educating, and you'll talk about the 5 minute, the new homeowner makes small talk. Or they'll go, how much is something like that? How do I get that turned over to my name? They will ask some kind of buying question. They cannot help it. This is the moment the sale's either made real quick, or if you stick your foot in your mouth and you give yourself extra work. When they say, how much is something like that? How do I get this put in my name? You immediately turn into the mechanic. Mm-hmm. Ma'am, do you want the good news first or the bad news first? This needs to become a reflex. Do you want the good news first or the bad news first? I don't care if they say good news. Well, that sucks because I'm giving you the bad news first. Okay, they'll laugh just like that. Okay, like why'd you even ask? Well, because I was hoping that you picked the right one. But when you ask that and they say you give the guys, unfortunately you can see by the date, by the size of the equipment, by the look of it, it's a little bit outdated, and unfortunately we can't use anything that's in here right now. That's the mechanic saying, I need you to come with me. I looked at your car. It's bad news. What I need them to feel is this guy's getting ready to set me up for a quote for something I'm not even sure if I want. This guy's getting ready to hit me for $2,000 and thinks he's slick. I need them to feel that. So if you deliver it properly, I think that's bad news. I can't, This thing has motion detectors all through the house, and your guy's dog, unfortunately, he's lovely, but because of him, we can't use the system that's in here. Find a reason. You guys are missing part of your contacts. Keypad's outdated. It's not cellular. It's not Wi-Fi based. It's not dual path connectivity ready, right? Or, hey, look, just like DVD players, just like computers, things evolve over time. This system's about roughly, use that word, roughly some years old. I say it like that. It's roughly some years old. Like, I don't want to be rude, but all right? I don't care if you got dust off the keypad, like, somebody snap, right? Like you throw it in, you check it. Whatever you want to do to make it a little bit humorous and stuff. But when you guys say the bad news, you're trying to set them up with the feeling that you're about to hit them with a massive quote. So you say you can't use any of that stuff, right? But however, sir, the good news, like I told you before, part of my job is to explain the new homeowners program, and we actually replace this to your specs the way you want it done without having to come out of pocket. Okay? They need to hear that without coming out of pocket. and then you put more sugar on top, and you just start hammering. You go, and you guys actually do not have to use what's in here currently. Every home and every family have different needs, so that's why we come out here once as a courtesy. Did you hear that part? That's why we come out here once as a courtesy to try to customize it the way you want, answer any questions, make sure it's done right. What I've done is I have taken immediate stress away when you thought it was one thing and then turned out it wasn't that. You thought you were getting a quote for a price for full reinstallation, and all of a sudden it's whammo. It's tell me what you want done, when you want it done. Because of your status as a new homeowner, you do not stroke a check. That is a complete left hook when they were thinking it was a right uppercut, and it hits every time. Right? If you want to really like kill the sale immediately and like get it done quick where there is nothing else, and you know if you have a deal immediately or not, you say you don't have to pay for the replacement of the system, or you don't have to come out of pocket for it. All you're responsible for was the monitoring of the system, which you would have set up at some point anyways. Like stand on it. And you guys are going to turn that on anyways at some point. That's all you're responsible for. Is lower the risk on the home as quickly as possible so we can get you the money back from the insurance. We'll do it the way you guys want it done. Everybody wants the new doorbell. Like assumptively, everybody wants the new doorbell cameras. See if they bite and go, yeah. Right? Like, but you have put them in a position where it's like, hey guys, they send me out once as a courtesy. We want to keep an account at the address. That's that vibe there. Okay? They send me out once because we want to keep an account at the address, right? But we don't expect you to use the old stuff. We want to earn your business the right way. Lines like this are going to make them feel some type of way, special. But also when it's delivered with once as a courtesy, send me out here to see if you want to use it. Things like those pay dividends later in the sale. Those are like body shots in a boxing match. When I tell you in the door that I get sent out here once as a courtesy to explain, I'm going to explain. When I say that I'm here to see if you want to use it to lower the risk, I'm not here to explain it so that you know that you can lower the risk. I'm here to see if you want to use it to lower the risk. That will pay dividends in 20 minutes when I try to close when you ask for a card. So that's the framing that I will be teaching later. But it's done throughout. It's done at the door. It's done at the keypad. It's done after I explain the new homeowners program. When I recap it, you have heard from me 3, maybe 4 times that I'm here once, and that I'm here to see if you want to do this. Okay? Now you also heard some nice consultative stuff like to answer your questions, explain your options. So there's an art form to this. It's, hey, you're completely in control, and I'm just really here at your disposal. But simultaneously, for the last 10, 20 minutes, yep, they bring me here once. This is your time. I'll be brief. There's a lot of that pays dividends throughout the sale. That, you know, the more you guys watch these videos, as you hear me naturally like role play, that's what really comes out is that there will be urgency, there will be professionalism, there will be matter of fact, right? I just got to figure out which way I'm taking it. Am I more friendly and consultative and hey, how are you? There's no system in here. Let's get one in here. Don't worry, I'll fit the bill, right? Or it's, hey, there's old stuff in here that you were probably thinking you could just fire up. Turns out you can't fire it up, but don't worry, you don't have to fit the bill. Either way, that's what it circles back to is you're not going to get out of this because of a financial objection because you don't fit the bill. But you guys get into a part in the conversation where you can actually get that off. That's the trick. So when we teach how to open, what I'm really teaching is how am I getting this damn conversation going for real? Mm-hmm. Is it the nice friendly way where they're like, baby, do you want to come in? Is it the more, hey, I'm just here to check out the old stuff. Oh, it's right there. Oh, perfect. Let's take a look. And it's more quick, more, hey, I'm just here. That's more business, okay? So obviously one's more emotional. You're going to be friendly, 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 and then you're going to close hard on an emotional reason, which I love. Number 2 is more transactional. Hey guys, because the house had the old stuff, they give you guys an option if you want to. It's a reward for being proactive to lower the risk on the home as soon as possible. It's a reward for being proactive. Well, I don't understand why you can't come back. Because it's a reward for being proactive. Now, if you get that off 2 or 3 times before they ask you to come back, those are the real body shots. Okay? Because if you have explained a bazillion times that you're here to see if they want to use it, and that it is a reward for being proactive, for getting it done sooner rather than later, for limiting the window of risk on the home, then when they try to stall or put you off or put it off longer, guess where the body shots have landed? In the timing objection zone, where they're like, I'm busy. Yeah, I know, that's why we do it this way. I'm broke. Exactly, that's why you don't like, that's what I was telling you. They sent me out here to bug you on purpose during the chaos. Me doing those things at the beginning, doing those things in the middle, explaining why I know it's a crazy time, but that's why we do it this way, those land at the end when they try to get out, guys. They don't see what you're doing when you're saying those things in the beginning. It doesn't resonate when you say once as a courtesy. They don't know why you said that. But you do. It's because eventually they're going to try to ask you for a card. So you need to have left a bazillion breadcrumbs that say, no ma'am, I'm here to see if you want to use it. And the reason it's free today is because you didn't wait and you removed the risk for the insurance company and for your family. If the entire presentation was built around being proactive and doing it quicker, then when it's time to close, that's going to make more sense than something you just pulled out of your ass to combat their objection when they said not right now. Well, you don't understand, ma'am. It's a reward for being proactive, and they sent me out here. That doesn't work after they give the objection of not right now. It only works if you were delivering it the entire way through, so that way when they do say, can you come back, you're just recapping the last 4 or 5 times you said, man, they sent me here to try to get this done as soon as possible, and see if you're recapping. Now she knows why you can't come back. But if you don't say any of that and they simply ask you to come back or can they think on it, and then you fire all those lines off, you're handling an objection. You're a salesperson, and no, I'm not. I don't feel safe anymore. Give me your card. That's how people lose stuff, is they don't set it up right. So if you know the right way to open, they'll close themselves usually. Okay? So you should usually know the right spiel the right play you're getting ready to run before you get under center or before they open the door. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And if you can't tell, just one quick dart before they. Or when you're talking to them, if you can see the back door, oh shit, there is a contact. Oh shoot, I see equipment. Okay? It's not a perfect system, but it's worked for me for 12 years. Okay, so it's little things like that that I don't think is in our training that honestly makes a bazillion percentages of difference. You will get into more homes because you're running it the right way. All right? These openers are just about, they have a problem. Either they don't have a system or they have one in there and they don't know what the hell to do with it. That's why I choose different openers. Because they have a problem in there and their problems are different. One has a system and it doesn't work or it's not their name. One doesn't have anything and they want one. Either one is a problem, right? But they're different problems. And so being the guy that shows up to fix that exact problem for that exact person because you've identified the right one, this one doesn't have any equipment. Play number 1. This one has old stuff that probably doesn't even beep anymore because they're not in business. Play number 2. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
We brought our old equipment from our old house.
Why in the world would you do that?
Because you already paid for it.
You're an antique kind of guy? Yeah. Huh? Look, with respect to like watches or shoes, cars, I love antiques. With respect to equipment to protect my family, it doesn't make sense to do that if you guys have a replacement that's already taken care of and you don't have to fit the bill. Do you want to install your own stuff? I can ask my installer. The only way he gets out is saying, I want to do my own stuff.
Right.
So I beat him to, is that what it is? Do you want to do your own work on it? Like, you'll learn that over time too. Is like if you face that 2 or 3 times, try it. Each way is different. Try it different ways until you find the one that hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how their day was that day.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on their financial situation. It depends on the line that comes out of your mouth next. And that's where the craft is, right? So if you can see the punches coming, that's what I mean. Like if you know if there's the difference between a DIY versus an old company, is it a company that's in business or one that's out of business? Maybe they've called them already, maybe they haven't. The more you know before that door opens, the less you have to guess before everything goes different and haywire, because every customer is different, the better off you're going to be, right? That's why there's strength in the system. The less we have to think, the more we can think. And what I mean is, the less I have to think about what's coming out right here, the more I'm over here thinking about, how am I getting in this house? You know what I mean? So that's the art form, is being able to let that part go while you're over here figuring out how to close. So if I know I'm running play 2, then it's plugged in and I'm gone. And then when I come to, I'm in the house. That's literally how it'll start to feel the more you do it. Okay? Any question? Did it make sense?
Yes.
Oh, it does.
I be getting nervous when I make the trainees up on the spot.
Hey, Tyler,
You'll
can
edit
you-
that part out.
No, we're not. I'm going to let the people know.
Hey, can you go through a little bit more of what you do at the keep end?